Under the vast expanse of a starry sky, nestled in a quaint town where the hum of daily life melded with the serenity of night, lived Clara Bennett, an amateur astronomer and the proud owner of the town's only observatory. With her telescope positioned like a sentinel against the cosmos, Clara spent countless nights scanning the heavens, her heart swelling with wonder at each celestial discovery. The observatory, a humble structure adorned with weathered shingles and a dome that gleamed under moonlight, was more than just her sanctuary. It was a beacon for community engagement and scientific curiosity. Clara had always believed in sharing her passion with others. She organized monthly stargazing events that brought families together, igniting imaginations and fostering a sense of connection among neighbors. Young children would gather around to marvel at Jupiter's swirling clouds or witness Saturn's magnificent rings through her telescope. For Clara, these moments were precious. Each child's wide-eyed awe reminded her why she devoted herself to this pursuit. However, amid her efforts to inspire and educate, Clara faced an unexpected challenge. The Homeowners Association, HOA, known for its stringent rules aimed at preserving uniformity within the community, had begun to encroach upon her domain. Their new regulation regarding outdoor lighting deemed any excessive natural light reflections as unacceptable nuisances after dark. This seemed particularly absurd when they targeted Clara for something as innocuous as moonlight bouncing off her telescope dome. As she read through the HOA's notice demanding she install blackout panels on her beloved observatory, frustration bubbled within her. They saw only an eye-catching reflection. They didn't understand that behind those lenses lay a world of discovery, a hub of research connecting local students to prominent universities and NASA itself. Determined not to let this absurdity diminish her work or silencing the stars above, Clara decided it was time to rally her community and fight back against this overreach. After all, those twinkling lights in the sky were worth protecting. The atmosphere in the quaint town shifted dramatically with the arrival of a formal notice from the Homeowners Association, HOA, which landed like a thundercloud over Clara's passionate endeavors. The letter, typewritten and adorned with an official seal, delivered a stark message. Outdoor lighting, including the moonlight reflecting off her telescope dome, must be minimized at night to maintain uniformity within the community. As she read through the HOA's detailed stipulations, Clara felt a mix of disbelief and growing frustration. The decree declared that excessive natural light reflections were now classified as visual nuisances, an arbitrary label that seemed both absurd and short-sighted. The tone of the letter was impersonal and authoritarian, filled with legal jargon designed to intimidate rather than inform. It made no effort to acknowledge the importance of her observatory or its role in enriching the community through education and engagement. This ruling not only targeted Clara personally, but also cast a shadow over all who cherished the night sky. Many residents enjoyed casual stargazing or a peaceful evening under stars twinkling above their homes. Now they were faced with restrictions that could limit their enjoyment of nature's wonders. The prospect of darkened backyards filled with blackout panels instead of starry skies weighed heavily on Clara's heart. While she understood the HOA's concerns for uniformity, she couldn't help but feel that this rule missed the bigger picture, the marvels within reach when one gazed skyward at night. Reflecting on past events where children had squealed in delight at spotting constellations or planets ignited a fire within her. This was about more than just aesthetics. It was about inspiring curiosity and fostering love for science within their community. Clara knew she couldn't let this absurdity continue unchallenged. With renewed determination, she contemplated how best to address this overreach, envisioning gatherings where neighbors might rally around their shared passion for astronomy. There had to be a way to reclaim their nights and celebrate what it truly meant to explore the universe together, rather than stifle it behind walls of darkness and conformity. The day after Clara received the HOA's letter, she found herself pacing the observatory's small control room, heart racing with a mix of disbelief and indignation. The notice lay on her desk, the words "visual nuisance" glaring at her like an accusation. With each passing second, the absurdity of the demand sank deeper into her consciousness. How could moonlight, a natural and beautiful phenomenon, be categorized as a nuisance? Wasn't it precisely this type of natural beauty that inspired wonder and learning? Flipping open the letter again, Clara focused on the official points. The HOA specified that she must install blackout panels over her telescope dome to comply with their regulations by the end of the month. The timeline was almost impossibly short, and the thought of altering her beloved observatory filled her with dread. The dome had been part of countless stargazing nights, guiding community members through constellations and teaching them about the universe's vastness. Feeling an urgent need to voice her frustration, Clara drafted an email to the HOA committee, outlining her concerns about their ruling. Yet, as she wrote, she realized that simply explaining her position wouldn't be enough. She needed to do more than just state facts. She needed to rally support and create a movement that could challenge this unreasonable mandate. As she sat down at her computer, thoughts raced through her mind about how they would frame their message. Clara envisioned gatherings in the observatory where people could come together to celebrate the beauty of astronomy, sharing their experiences under the stars and emphasizing what was at stake. It was time for residents to understand that this decision wasn't just about her telescope. It could set a dangerous precedent for future community regulations regarding personal freedoms. With renewed determination sparking within her, Clara began crafting plans for a community meeting at the observatory, a forum not only for discussion, but for reclaiming their right to appreciate and explore the night sky unfettered. Her resolve strengthened with every word she typed. This battle was just beginning, and she was ready to fight for her passion and for everyone who shared it. Clara stood in the center of her observatory, its familiar walls filled with the memories of countless starry nights, and shook her head in disbelief. The very idea that moonlight could be deemed a visual nuisance was outlandish to her. She had dedicated her life to sharing the wonders of the universe with her community, igniting curiosity and sparking passion in young minds. How could the HOA dismiss the beauty and importance of what she offered so casually? As she gazed out of the observatory's dome, Clara reflected on how each starlit evening had been a canvas for discovery, where families gathered, children pointed skyward, and laughter echoed amidst tales of constellations. Astronomy was more than a hobby. It was a bridge connecting science to everyday life, enriching the fabric of their small town. The thought that such joyous moments could be stifled by an arbitrary rule felt like a personal affront. Her frustration boiled over as she recalled the glowing faces of the children who had looked through her telescope, wide-eyed with wonder at the planets they had only read about in books. Each stargazing event not only educated but created memories that shaped future dreams, inspiring potential scientists and astronomers. Clara's observatory was a place of learning, yet here was an organization intent on casting its shadow over such light. Despite her initial outrage, Clara understood that this fight extended beyond personal pride. It was about preserving a love for science and exploration within her community. She envisioned how the restrictions imposed by the HOA could deter residents from engaging with the night sky altogether. The fear of losing this vital aspect of education and connection fueled her resolve. With every passing moment, Clara's frustration transformed into determination. She recognized that if she wanted to protect her observatory and ensure future generations could experience the universe's wonders firsthand, she would need more than just words. She would need action. It was time to rally the community, draw together those who cherished the night sky, and stand against this unreasonable demand. Together, they could advocate for their right to explore and learn beneath the stars. Clara sat at her desk, reflecting on the significance of her observatory beyond just a personal passion. The small building, with its gleaming dome and array of instruments, had become a cornerstone for scientific exploration in their community. Not only did it serve as a gateway to the night sky for locals, but it also played a vital role in larger research efforts. The observatory had established partnerships with major universities and even NASA, providing critical data that contributed to various astronomical studies. In the past few years, students from nearby colleges had used the observatory for their projects, analyzing data on celestial events and contributing to significant discoveries. Clara recalled a recent collaboration with a university in which her observatory was instrumental in tracking an asteroid's trajectory. The findings had been published in a reputable scientific journal, showcasing the observatory's potential to impact the broader world of astronomy. This vital work underscored the importance of preserving night sky observation not just for Clara's benefit, but for the scientific community at large. Each clear evening provided opportunities to gather data that could not only advance academic knowledge, but also inspire the next generation of scientists. Clara had often envisioned young students standing in her observatory, looking through the telescope and dreaming about their futures in science, a dream that could be extinguished by the HOA's unreasonable demands. As she prepared for her community meeting, Clara gathered evidence of the observatory's contributions, highlighting how crucial it was to maintain access to the night sky. She planned to share stories of students whose lives had been transformed by their experiences at the observatory, illustrating the tangible impact it had on their education and aspirations. With each piece of information she compiled, Clara's resolve strengthened. She was determined to demonstrate that the fight against the HOA wasn't merely about her telescope dome. It was about safeguarding a valuable resource that fostered learning and discovery for everyone in the community. The observatory represented a bridge between curiosity and knowledge, and she would not let that bridge crumble under the weight of arbitrary restrictions. Clara was ready to stand tall and advocate for the stars, knowing that they were worth fighting for. Clara's determination solidified as she approached the day of the community meeting. The weight of the HOA's demands hung heavily in the air, but it was not just frustration that fueled her. It was a passionate commitment to astronomy and an unwavering desire to protect the observatory's mission. She envisioned the telescope dome glittering under the moonlight, serving as a portal to the cosmos for anyone who sought its wonders. In the days leading up to the meeting, Clara meticulously organized her thoughts and materials. She prepared a presentation that illustrated not only the scientific contributions made by the observatory, but also the joy it brought to her community. She gathered testimonials from families whose children had attended stargazing nights, recounting how their experiences had ignited a sense of wonder and curiosity about science. This was more than just a fight against a rule, it was about preserving a shared passion that connected them all. As Clara stood in front of her assembled neighbors, she could see their faces reflecting both concern and curiosity. With each word she spoke, she articulated her love for astronomy while emphasizing how vital it was to keep their connection to the night sky intact. "This observatory is not merely mine," she declared with conviction. "It belongs to all of us. It represents our shared dreams and aspirations." The audience responded with murmurs of agreement, and Clara could feel their energy shifting towards solidarity. She didn't just want them to understand her plight. She wanted them to feel inspired to join in this fight against what she labeled as an unreasonable overreach by the HOA. After laying out her case, Clara called upon her neighbors to unite and advocate for their right to enjoy the stars free from arbitrary constraints. Her words resonated deeply. They were not just defending one person's observatory, but standing up for education, exploration, and the beauty of curiosity that defined their community. As she wrapped up her presentation, Clara felt a surge of hope swell within her. The fight against the HOA was far from over, but with each person who stood beside her, she knew they were one step closer to ensuring that future generations would continue to gaze at the stars in awe and wonder, just as she had always intended. With her heart set on fostering community support, Clara decided to organize an informal gathering at the observatory. She envisioned an evening filled with shared stories, laughter, and most importantly, a collective reaffirmation of their love for the night sky. Clara spread the word through social media and local flyers, inviting neighbors and anyone interested in astronomy or community engagement. On the night of the gathering, the observatory was adorned with cheerful string lights that twinkled against the darkening backdrop of the sky. Clara prepared a simple presentation highlighting the recent rule imposed by the HOA, but made sure to keep the atmosphere light and welcoming. She wanted her neighbors to feel comfortable discussing their thoughts and concerns without being burdened by formalities. As families began to arrive, Clara was heartened by the sight of familiar faces, parents who had brought their children to previous stargazing events, as well as a few local science enthusiasts eager to support her cause. The mood was buoyant, filled with excited chatter about upcoming celestial events and favorite constellations, but Clara knew that this gathering had a deeper purpose. Once everyone settled, she welcomed them warmly, expressing her gratitude for their presence. Clara then briefly addressed the HOA rule before sharing stories of how the observatory had changed lives, sparking curiosity in children and inspiring future scientists. "This isn't just about my telescope," she explained earnestly. "It's about our right to explore these wonders together. The stars belong to everyone." The crowd nodded in agreement as Clara opened the floor for discussion. Ideas flowed freely as neighbors shared their own memories of nights spent stargazing or their hopes for future educational opportunities at the observatory. Local astrophysicists offered to help with educational programs, while parents voiced their concern over the potential loss of access to nighttime exploration. The gathering transformed from a meeting into a vibrant exchange of ideas and commitments. Clara felt the energy in the room shift. Her neighbors were no longer merely concerned residents. They were now allies ready to advocate for their shared passion for astronomy and education. By the end of the evening, Clara had not only sparked conversations, but also ignited a sense of unity among her community members. They left the observatory with renewed zeal, each person carrying a flicker of hope that together they could challenge the HOA's unreasonable demands and ensure that future generations could continue to marvel at the stars. Inspired by the enthusiastic response from her community gathering, Clara began developing a comprehensive strategy for a town-wide campaign to highlight the benefits of astronomy and address the excessive regulations imposed by the HOA. She understood that rallying support required clear messaging and a multifaceted approach to reach as many residents as possible. First, Clara decided to create informational pamphlets that outlined the profound educational and scientific value of the observatory. She included stories from families who had attended stargazing events, emphasizing how such experiences fostered curiosity, inspired young minds to pursue science, and built stronger community ties. These pamphlets would also detail the potential negative impacts of the HOA's rule, how limiting access to natural starlight could hinder scientific exploration and discourage local engagement with astronomy. When Moonlight becomes political, you know you're in for a ride. Sometimes, timing changes everything, just like subscribing to this channel seems to shine just the right light at just the right time. But back to the story. Next, Clara envisioned a series of engaging public presentations at local schools and community centers. Inviting local astronomers and science educators to participate could bolster credibility and draw additional attendees. These presentations would aim not just to oppose the HOA's ruling, but to celebrate their collective passion for exploring the night sky, demonstrating how astronomy enriches lives and serves as a gateway to learning about the universe. To amplify their message further, Clara suggested launching an online petition that residents could sign to express their support for preserving access to astronomy without unnecessary restrictions. Social media would play an essential role in this campaign. Clara encouraged participants to share personal experiences related to stargazing while using specific hashtags that could generate momentum and visibility. Understanding the importance of unity during this process, she organized regular brainstorming sessions at the observatory where volunteers could collaborate on strategies and share ideas. This inclusivity allowed everyone in the community to feel involved and valued in the fight against regulatory overreach. Finally, targeting key influencers within town governance meant approaching members of the town council with letters outlining not only the community's stance, but also presenting research on how other towns benefited from accessibility to astronomy programs. Clara knew that data-driven advocacy would lend weight to their request for reconsideration of HOA regulations. As she mapped out this strategic plan, Clara felt an electrifying sense of purpose. This campaign was about more than just reversing a decision. It was about fortifying their connection with science, education, and each other. With renewed vigor fueling her efforts, she was primed and ready to inspire her town in defense of something truly celestial, their right to explore and cherish the stars above. As Clara's campaign began to take shape, she recognized the power of social media and local press coverage in amplifying her message about the observatory's significance. To create buzz, she initiated a series of online posts showcasing the observatory's rich history, past collaborations with universities, and its role in promoting scientific inquiry among local youth. Clara carefully curated images of stargazing events, highlighting the joy and excitement on children's faces as they looked through the telescope and marveled at distant galaxies. Recognizing the emotional impact of personal stories, Clara invited community members to share their experiences with the observatory on social media. She encouraged them to use specific hashtags like Stars for All and Save Our Sky, which quickly gained traction as residents began posting their memories and photos. The campaign not only celebrated the observatory, but also fostered a sense of solidarity among neighbors who rallied behind a common cause. Clara also reached out to local journalists, inviting them to cover the upcoming eclipse viewing event at the observatory. She shared press releases that detailed not just the event itself, but also the broader implications of the HOA's restrictions on access to astronomy. With every outreach, Clara emphasized how crucial it was for the town to preserve its connection to the night sky for educational purposes and community enjoyment. As the eclipse viewing event approached, local news outlets began to pick up the story. Clara was featured in interviews that highlighted her dedication to sharing the wonders of astronomy with families and students, framing her as a passionate advocate for science education in the community. Her words resonated with viewers as she explained how the observatory had transformed lives and inspired young dreamers. The combination of social media buzz and positive press coverage resulted in increased attendance at the observatory. Families who had previously been unaware of its importance now expressed excitement about participating in stargazing events. Clara could feel a palpable shift in community sentiment as support swelled around the observatory and opposition against the HOA's regulations grew louder. With mounting enthusiasm, Clara felt invigorated. This campaign was not just about her telescope. It was about safeguarding a treasure that belonged to everyone. The collective voice of the community was rising, and she was ready to harness that energy to challenge the HOA's unreasonable demands, ensuring future generations would continue to cherish their connection with the stars above. Clara knew that to create meaningful change, she needed tangible support from the community. Inspired by the enthusiasm surrounding the observatory, she decided to initiate a public petition against the HOA's rule, aiming to gather signatures from residents who valued the observatory and nighttime stargazing. She envisioned this petition as not just a formal document, but as a powerful statement of unity and collective commitment to preserving their right to enjoy the night sky. To kick off the initiative, Clara organized a weekend event at the observatory, inviting families, neighbors, and local science enthusiasts to come together. She set up a table adorned with colorful banners that read, "Save our sky," and "Join us in defending astronomy." Clara prepared multiple copies of the petition along with information sheets that detailed why outdoor lighting restrictions could harm both educational opportunities and community engagement with astronomy. As families arrived, Clara greeted them warmly and explained the purpose of the petition. She emphasized how limiting natural light reflections would not only impact her observatory, but also restrict everyone's ability to appreciate the beauty of stargazing. The crowd quickly grew animated. People shared their own stories about how they had first fallen in love with astronomy during events hosted at the observatory. With enthusiasm building, Clara launched into an impromptu presentation about recent stargazing nights, featuring photographs of children peering through telescopes and discovering constellations. As she spoke passionately about these experiences, attendees began signing the petition eagerly. Each signature represented a pledge not just to support her cause, but also to foster curiosity and knowledge in future generations. Local students joined in too. Many had learned about celestial events through Clara's programs. They took turns encouraging their parents and friends to sign, creating an atmosphere of excitement and solidarity. Within just a few hours, Clara had collected hundreds of signatures, far surpassing her expectations. As people left the event with smiles on their faces and small pamphlets detailing upcoming stargazing nights, Clara felt an overwhelming sense of hope. This grassroots effort was more than just a campaign against an HOA rule. It was a collective movement celebrating education, community spirit, and shared dreams under the stars. With each signature collected, Clara felt more confident that they could successfully challenge the HOA's restrictions and protect their beloved observatory for years to come. As Clara's grassroots campaign gained momentum, the atmosphere around the observatory became charged with excitement and purpose. However, the Homeowners Association was not one to back down easily. Tensions escalated when the HOA responded to Clara's burgeoning movement with an aggressive legal maneuver. They issued a cease and desist order directed at her observatory, officially claiming that it violated their new lighting regulations. The letter arrived on a brisk Tuesday morning, stark and formal, carrying weighty implications for Clara and the community she had worked so hard to rally. The cease and desist order branded the observatory's operations as unlawful and demanded that Clara comply with the blackout panel installation within 30 days or face legal action. Clara's heart sank as she read the correspondence. It felt like a direct attack on her passion and a dismissal of everything she had built. But she quickly transformed her initial shock into resolve. This was not just about her, this was about defending a precious resource for education and inspiration in their community. In response to this escalation, Clara convened an emergency meeting at the observatory. Attendees filled the room with palpable concern, but Clara harnessed that energy to spur them into action. "We can't let them silence us," she declared passionately. "This is our observatory, it's about our right to explore the universe." With renewed determination, Clara emphasized that they needed to counter the HOA's threats with even greater unity and visibility. She proposed organizing a peaceful protest outside of the HOA office, alongside a series of public meetings where concerned residents could voice their opposition to these regulations openly. The group rallied together, discussing strategies to spread awareness about how important access to astronomy was for children's education, community bonding, and scientific inquiry. Additionally, Clara stressed the need for legal counsel, experts who could help them navigate this complex situation and challenge the HOA's authority legally if necessary. She recognized that this battle would require more than just heartfelt speeches. It needed careful planning and strategic thinking. While emotions ran high, Clara found strength in knowing that they were not fighting alone. With every signature collected against the HOA's ruling and every story shared about how stargazing had enriched lives, they were building an indomitable force dedicated to preserving access to the night sky. As plans solidified for their protest and advocacy efforts intensified, Clara felt a sense of empowerment swell inside her. The fight wasn't over, it had only just begun. The observatory would remain a beacon for discovery and wonder, no matter what challenges lay ahead. The night of the public meeting had finally arrived, and Clara felt her heart race with anticipation as residents packed the town hall. The energy in the room was palpable, filled with a mix of concern and determination. Armed with data and testimonials about the observatory's significant impact on education and community engagement, Clara was ready to make her stand against the HOA. As she stepped up to the podium, she could see familiar faces, neighbors, families, and young aspiring astronomers who had all been touched by her work at the observatory. She took a deep breath, steadying herself before launching into her presentation. "Thank you all for being here tonight," she began, her voice strong yet tinged with emotion. "We are gathered not just to oppose a rule, but to protect our right to explore and celebrate our cosmos." Clara presented compelling statistics on the educational benefits of the observatory, citing how many local students participated in scientific programs that led them to pursue careers in science and technology. She shared touching testimonials from parents and children alike, stories of how stargazing had ignited curiosity and fostered family bonding during their visits to the observatory. She paused for a moment, allowing the weight of her words to resonate in the room. "The rule imposed by the HOA is not just an inconvenience. It threatens our ability to access a resource that enriches our lives and strengthens our community," she stated passionately. "By limiting our interaction with the night sky, we are denying future generations opportunities for discovery." As Clara continued, she highlighted powerful anecdotes from former students who went on to achieve amazing things in science, illustrating how just a single visit to the observatory had changed their trajectory. Her presentation ebbed and flowed with heartfelt stories interspersed with hard data, making it difficult for anyone present to overlook the importance of their cause. With her presentation concluded, Clara called upon those gathered to unite and raise their voices against the HOA's unreasonable demands. "Let us show them that we will not be silenced. Our right to learn, explore, and enjoy our night sky is worth fighting for." The audience erupted into applause, energized, standing up ready to voice their support. Clara felt a surge of hope wash over her as more residents began sharing personal testimonies of their experiences at the observatory. The atmosphere shifted from concern to determination. She knew they were building an unstoppable movement. As discussions took place throughout the evening, Clara's heart swelled with pride. They were no longer just a group of concerned residents, but advocates for their shared passion. A passionate community committed to ensuring that their beloved observatory would shine brightly for generations to come. As the highly anticipated eclipse approached, Clara decided to host a public viewing party in her yard, transforming the event into a celebration of unity and a love for science. She envisioned a magical evening filled with not just astronomical observations, but also community bonding. Inviting everyone in the neighborhood, she advertised the event as an opportunity to come together, witness the celestial spectacle, and reaffirmed their commitment to keeping the observatory accessible for all. On the day of the viewing party, Clara's yard was transformed into a vibrant gathering space. She set up telescopes, picnic blankets, and stations for snacks and refreshments, ensuring that families would feel welcome and comfortable. Colorful banners adorned the yard, proclaiming messages like "Celebrate the Stars" and "Together for the Night Sky." In addition to stargazing through her telescope, Clara planned fun educational activities for children, including crafts related to astronomy and storytelling about constellations. As dusk began to fall and excitement filled the air, community members arrived in droves. Clara beamed with pride as she greeted familiar faces, children who had attended her stargazing nights and parents who had shared their own experiences with the observatory. The atmosphere was electric. Laughter mingled with chatter as people settled on blankets, sharing stories of their own aspirations and love for science. Once the eclipse began, Clara gathered everyone's attention. With only seconds left until totality, she encouraged everyone to look through her telescope. She emphasized how this moment was not just about observing a rare celestial event, but about celebrating their collective efforts to protect something precious, their access to knowledge and exploration. As they witnessed the moon slowly covering the sun, gasps of awe echoed throughout the yard. The experience ignited a fiery sense of unity among those present. Families cheered as they collectively viewed what felt like a shared triumph against adversity. In that moment of wonder, Clara felt more motivated than ever. This gathering encapsulated everything she had fought for: education, community spirit, and unyielding curiosity about the universe. As night fell and the sky darkened once more, Clara wrapped up the event by thanking everyone for their support. She reinforced that they were not just defending an observatory, they were standing up for science education and enriching their community's future. With hearts full of hope and excitement about what they could accomplish together, attendees left with renewed purpose. Clara knew that this was just one step in their journey, but it was a significant leap towards ensuring that their connection with the night sky would thrive for generations to come. As the eclipse viewing party unfolded in Clara's yard, excitement filled the air, and local news crews arrived to cover the event. Cameras captured families gathered under the twinkling lights, their laughter merging with animated discussions about the significance of both the celestial event and the community's fight against the HOA's ruling. With telescopes set up and papier-mâché models of celestial bodies nearby, Clara made sure that this gathering was not just a celebration of the eclipse, but also an opportunity to highlight the observatory's vital role in fostering education and curiosity. During a break in the eclipse, reporters took interviews with attendees, showcasing their passionate stories about the observatory and its impact on their lives. One young student recounted how Clara's stargazing events inspired him to pursue astronomy, while a parent shared how visiting the observatory had transformed family outings into educational adventures. These heartwarming narratives projected a compelling image of unity and community spirit. As Clara moved through the crowd, she felt an overwhelming sense of hope grow within her. The community was coming together, standing firm against what they saw as an unreasonable attack on their freedom to explore. She realized how important it was to ensure that the world outside her yard understood this struggle, showing how their love for science bonded them all. When it finally came time to observe the eclipse, Clara called everyone together for a countdown. As totality approached, cheers erupted from the crowd as they looked through telescopes and shared glasses prepared for solar viewing. The moment of darkness cast a spell over everyone present, and gasps filled the air as neighbors turned to each other in amazement, a profound reminder of how fleeting yet beautiful these moments can be. The captivating atmosphere did not go unnoticed by the news anchors reporting live from the scene. They expressed awe at witnessing such camaraderie amid a fight against bureaucratic restrictions, skillfully contrasting it with the rigid stance taken by the HOA. The broadcast highlighted how Clara's observatory served as a beacon of knowledge and discovery rather than a mere nuisance. As daylight returned and cheers continued to fill Clara's yard, she felt confident that this live coverage would reach beyond their small town. The sincerity of their purpose could inspire others facing similar challenges elsewhere. The support from families solidified into a collective identity. They were no longer just fighting for an observatory but championing accessibility to science for all. Clara knew this moment would echo long into their future, igniting further conversations about perseverance, community, and keeping curiosity alive in hearts young and old alike. As the dust began to settle after the eclipse party, Clara sensed that public opinion was shifting dramatically against the HOA. The enthusiastic turnout and heartwarming stories shared during the event resonated beyond their small town, reaching local media outlets that covered the strong community response. News anchors highlighted not only the spectacle of the eclipse, but also the impressive grassroots movement advocating for the observatory's significance in education and scientific exploration. Days later, as tensions mounted between the community and the HOA, Clara received an unexpected phone call from a news station asking for an interview. Eager to share her story, she agreed, hoping to further amplify their cause. During the live segment, she described how the observatory served as a beacon of knowledge and inspiration for local youth and families. Clara's passion shone through as she articulated the importance of preserving access to the night sky for future generations. Simultaneously, some local residents began expressing their concerns directly to HOA representatives. Armed with petitions and testimonials from Clara's viewing party, they made their voices heard at HOA meetings, challenging the authority that had previously felt unassailable. The tide turned decisively when a leading member of the HOA, faced with mounting pressure from concerned residents and escalating negative publicity, reached out to Clara for a meeting. Clara saw this as an opportunity to have an open dialogue about the community's needs and aspirations concerning astronomy education. In a surprising turn of events, during a subsequent live news broadcast from their office, the HOA publicly acknowledged its missteps. With cameras rolling, they issued an official apology for their rigid stance on the observatory and committed to revisiting their policies regarding outdoor lighting in collaboration with community input. This moment marked a significant victory for Clara and her supporters. Cheers erupted among those watching from their homes and at Clara's observatory as news of the apology spread like wildfire. It was a testament to community resilience, an affirmation that when united around a shared passion, they could effect real change. Clara felt immense pride swell within her. Their fight had not only protected access to scientific exploration, but had also fostered stronger bonds within their community. As she looked around at her neighbors celebrating this hard-fought victory, Clara knew that this was just one milestone in a continuing journey to ensure that curiosity and learning would always thrive under the stars. In the aftermath of the HOA's public apology, a renewed sense of community engagement flourished in Clara's town. Residents felt empowered by their collective efforts and realized that their voices mattered in local governance. They understood that by standing up for their shared interests, they could successfully combat the overreach of bureaucratic authority. The struggle for the observatory had not only highlighted the importance of access to scientific exploration, but also fostered a spirit of resilience and solidarity among neighbors. Clara took this opportunity to further galvanize support for ongoing educational programs at the observatory. With the HOA's reversal, she organized a series of workshops and public lectures, inviting local scientists and educators to share their expertise. These events attracted families eager to learn about the cosmos, creating an environment where curiosity was celebrated and nurtured. Clara's observatory became a hub for community engagement, attracting individuals who might not have previously recognized the value of astronomy. As participation in these programs surged, Clara implemented feedback systems to ensure that community needs continued to shape the activities offered at the observatory. She encouraged families to suggest topics, from astrophysics to environmental science, allowing everyone in the community to feel invested in the learning process. The observatory blossomed into a vibrant educational resource that nurtured not just future astronomers, but also informed citizens who appreciated the wonders of science. Public meetings became commonplace, with residents regularly discussing ideas to enhance accessibility and preserve their night sky. Clara noted how these gatherings strengthened relationships. Parents shared experiences, while children formed friendships based on mutual interests in science and discovery. The success of their campaigns served as an inspiring model for neighboring communities facing similar challenges. Clara began receiving inquiries from other towns asking how they could advocate for their own scientific resources. This outreach motivated her even further, as she recognized that their local struggle was part of a larger movement promoting science education and community empowerment. Ultimately, Clara's experience solidified her belief that sustained community engagement is essential in shaping local governance. When people come together over shared passions, they can create meaningful change that benefits everyone, a lesson that would resonate in her town long after the battle with the HOA had concluded. Through unity, resilience, and a dedication to lifelong learning, Clara was confident that future generations would continue to gaze at the stars with wonder and gratitude for their right to explore and learn.